All right, so I'm making this video. I don't normally make this type of video, but I see a lot of election predictions going on out there, and so I thought I would just throw my own 2 cents in there. So this is completely unscripted, just kind of giving my thoughts as we go through. I have a few resources. I'm going to do this for the United States Senate. We'll do one later on for the House of Representatives, but these are just my thoughts on how I think everything will come out. Now, in full disclosure, I think it's very important whenever you do a video like this to kind of get any biases out there. I'm going to try to do this as neutrally thinking as possible, but I do admit, while I am an independent, I do tend to lean toward the Republican side. So that's my bias, just so you know, going into this. And let's get started. So we have just the blank map right now with basically nothing filled in unless it's considered to be a rather obvious seat. And of course, it's a little, trying to do something like this when we're not even out of the primaries yet, a lot of these are anyone's guess. I mean, you have a lot of these races where there's a challenger, well, there's no challenger yet. So you look at Ohio, well, there's no one there. No Republican challenger there. There's no Republican challenger in Michigan, at least not officially. I mean, there might be a few primary contenders, but a lot of these races where there's a vulnerable Democrat, there really isn't any formidable Republican challenger, or really anyone who's arising yet. So, again, Tammy Baldwin, another one. So Tammy Baldwin, there's a viable challenger in North Dakota, not really in Montana. So I think a lot of these, when you don't even know who the opposing candidate is yet, it's kind of impossible to do any reliable prediction. But we'll do our best here. Let's take a quick look. This is as of April 20th. So let's just take a look at a couple of predictions here already. We have the Cook Political Report, and this is kind of old, April 9th. I mean, a lot of things happen. Where were we? Let's reset here. So we have the Cook Political Report. We have Sabato Crystal Ball. Not a whole lot of differences here. So we'll go to the 2018 Battleground, and let's see if we can start filling some of these in. All right. So if we look at Maine, Vermont, a lot of these, New Jersey, I'm going to kind of fill in some places here where I think it's pretty much, I never say foregone conclusion, but I think just about anyone here that's already colored in a dark color is pretty reliable. Now, let's just kind of go through these one by one. So we'll go east to west here. So we'll start with West Virginia. Joe Manchin, again, if there is such thing as a conservative Democrat, he's it. But then again, he's voted against Trump on a lot of key things. I will be using SurveyMonkey, a 10-state survey that was done recently, and so I should start done this in order. Well, let's start with, where's West Virginia? It's all the way down here at the end. So, do you approve of the way Joe Manchin is handling? So let's start with approval ratings. It does look like 45 approve and 54 disapprove. So we'll take a look at just kind of the deal here. Let's take the spreadsheet here. I'm going to kind of limit this to the 2018 seats. I know there's a couple of special elections that aren't being included here. But we'll go to, let's alphabetize these. West Virginia, Joe Manchin. It's a 19 Cook PVI. Sabato has this slightly in the Democrat direction, but I'm going to say there's a slight Republican chance here. Florida is anyone's guess. The crystal ball. Oh, this is House. Well, let's go to the Senate race ratings. It's a toss-up, basically. We can get Sabato's on the Senate. Be a little bit better. Where's Florida? Florida, again, toss-up. It's very, very close. If you look at the SurveyMonkey, let's go to that. Down to Florida. We have some very mixed results here. It's only in Florida, so yeah, this is how we can tell we're in the right area, because there's results for Florida, but no one else. Okay, so Marco Rubio, not so great in his approval rating. Now, Rick Scott, 56% approval to 43 disapproval. All right, that's good for the Republicans anyway, I should say. But 53-43 in polls for Bill Nelson. So these are very, very mixed results. I'm going to go ahead and make this very slight Democrat, just because I'm trying to maybe err on the safe side here, or err on the... So let's see. Ohio. Sherrod Brown, there's not really a challenger in there right now, so you never know what to think. The crystal ball for Ohio does say leans Democrat, and it's a lean Democrat in Cook. Let's take a look at what the SurveyMonkey, and let's take a look at the spreadsheet. This spreadsheet has a lot of information in it. It has the Sabato, is the person running for re-election, the Heritage. This is only for Republican candidates. How good are they on the Heritage report? Why do I put this here? Because there's a lot of talk that incumbent Republicans might have a hard time getting elected because the base does not see them as being, the Republican base doesn't see them as being pro-Trump or pro-Trump's agenda. So my thinking in including this is, if they have a low score on the Heritage, basically Heritage Foundation rates a lot of these Republicans, they rate everyone, but the Democrats come in very low ratings for them. So I didn't bother including it for the Democrat. Some of this could be misleading, but if they have a low number, I'll probably say they're more likely to be vulnerable because the Republicans may not show up for them. That's my only thinking there. Sherrod Brown, it's not, because Sherrod Brown is the incumbent, so I don't have, there's no Heritage number in here. Again, Cook Political Report has it leaning slightly Republican. Kind of a toss-up so far. Let's take a look at the SurveyMonkey. And this could go either way. Let's take Ohio. And again, this is not necessarily complete. Sherrod Brown, so the poll right now, 50-45, Sherrod Brown. There's not a whole lot of other information. John Kasich, 53%. I don't know what you can really make of that. Republican Rob Portman, 50% approve, 43% disapprove. So this could really go either way. I think, given the fact that there's really no challenger yet that's been named, I'm going to put this as a slight Democrat lean. Okay, so let's go to Indiana. Indiana, again, most of these are going to be toss-ups officially. Toss-up, and but Indiana is a Republican state. +9 on the Cook PVI. even though the crystal ball has this as a toss-up and it's incumbent Democrats, so you kind of want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Again, let's go to the poll. Indiana's over here. $50-42 for the other, the incumbent Republican senator from Indiana. All right. Republican does have 51-45 in the polls. So I think that, oh, isn't there an approval rating here? Approval rating. Oh. 48 approve, 44 disapprove. Very close. I'm going to say in a highly Republican state that we're going to say slightly Republican on this one. All right. Tennessee. Well, Corker's not running for re-election. It's a toss-up. It's really going to depend on who the candidate is. Marsha Blackburn. These are both well-known candidates. Marsha Blackburn, well-received Republican congresswoman. I think she's popular among the Republicans. I don't think we have an approval. Well, maybe we do. Oh, see, Tennessee's not even part of the survey. But again, Tennessee, well, Bob Corker has 80 on Heritage, but that doesn't matter since he's not running. But still, a heavily Republican state, I think Blackburn can, it would be a major upset for the Democrats to get this one. Wisconsin was part of the survey. Baldwin is weak, but I don't think there's really anyone, there's really no opposition, and that makes this very difficult. But if we take, there's going to be an approval rating here somewhere. Do you approve of the way Tammy Baldwin? So 53 approve, 43 disapprove. That's pretty strong. And Wisconsin, well, they are a toss-up. And Sabato has it like leaning slightly Democrat. So we'll go ahead and move this one. Oh, lean D, we'll say. Okay. And some of these could change. I mean, some of these is going to depend on who eventually ends up getting in there. Missouri, Claire McCaskill. These aren't any type of order. Oh, you know, I didn't look for, one thing I did not check with Wisconsin was the actual poll. Tammy Baldwin, I'll tell you, 49-46. So she is leading in the polls, but only by 3. So, you know, I'm going to change this to slight. This is one I think could certainly change. Missouri, that's where we were. So the poll seems to go 52-44 against McCaskill. Is there an approval rating here? 46 approve, 50 disapprove. And being a Republican state, a state that Donald Trump won by a lot, I don't see McCaskill winning there. We'll see anything. So far we're at 52. So we're a net +1 for Republicans, and we have 4 more states to go. North Dakota is not, oh, they are part of the survey. All right. Let's see what we have. Again, the other senator here, John Hoeven, 77% approval. It is a very Republican state. Let's see if we have Heidi Heitkamp. Okay, 57 approve, 57-43 approve. Okay, and she has I think she voted for Mike Pompeo too. There's something to this. This is kind of a toss-up so far. If we look at the poll, it is, however, 49-47. See, here's the thing with approval. You can disapprove of someone, but if the other candidate isn't better, especially for incumbents, if the other candidate isn't any better, you can vote for someone you disapprove of. So I tend to weight the polls slightly more strongly. This is a tough one. Let's see. And it is listed as a toss-up. I'm going to put this in the R column, just like just because it's a very, very right-leaning state, and I think the whole thing that when you have Republicans, this doesn't apply in North Dakota because the incumbent is Democrat, but when you have Republicans who have now been exposed, they can't run as they can't run as conservatives anymore. So that's going to affect things. I'm going to make a bold call here. Minnesota. Okay, there are 3 races in Minnesota in 2018. There's a governor's race, there's a senator's race, and there's a special election senator's race. And this is a state, this may be controversial, but this is a state that Donald Trump came very close on in 2016. It's close to, if not part of that Rust Belt. I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think one of those 3 races flips. One of the governor and the 2 senators. I'm actually going to say slight Republican chance here. I'm not going to take that to the bank, maybe, but it is a chance. We've got a few more here. Let's go to Montana. Now, I'm making this video soon after the controversy with Jon Tester and Dr. Ronnie Jackson. And I think, and this survey was made before that. So let's see where Montana stood. It was 55-42 polls before that. It's going to come to, well, do you approve? 52 approve, 47 disapprove. So disapprove doesn't mean you vote against someone. Approve, kind of more likely you do. I think this may come back in the other direction with the more recent news. I'm going to mark this as an R. Nevada, this is the only state where you have a Republican incumbent in a state that Trump won. So Heller is probably the only Republican who I would say is vulnerable. Let's take a look and see what we have. Oh, Nevada was not... Okay, that's going to make this difficult. Let's... It does have a reasonable heritage score, but Nevada is not exactly a right-leaning state. It's practically a toss-up. The Cook this is what we call the Cook PVI, the Cook Partisan Voting Index. This is not candidate-based. This is just a measure of, a measure of the electorate itself. Do the voters 10 Republican, 10 Democrat? So this is not. I won't say this is complete. That the candidates running have no part in this rating, but it's not candidate-specific. Nevada's a toss-up. It really is. And who's running against him? Jackie Rosen. I don't know much about her, but I think there's a reasonable chance. I'm going to put this as slight Democrat. I think Republicans could lose a seat here. Okay, one more, and that's Arizona. Now, Arizona, Dr. Kelly Ward, I don't know why there's no nominees listed there. There is a Republican candidate. I don't know if she's the front runner, but Dr. Kelly Ward, she ran 2 years ago. She got ousted by John McCain in the primaries. I don't think Arizona's going to make that mistake twice. I think she's probably going to get the nomination. It's going to be a tough race, and Arizona's not part of the survey either. Arizona, again, it's Cook plus 5, so it's kind of, sort of. Jeff Flake is not running for re-election. Jeff Flake and John McCain have, I think, been exposed as rhinos. So this is going to be a big test for the Arizona voters, which way they're going to end up swinging on this. Given it, we don't have a whole lot of information. I don't have any polls available here. At least we could take a look. Okay, so this is for the Republican primary. Martha McSally does have a lead. This is fairly recent, and there is one recent poll where Kelly Ward does have the lead. So Arizona's going to be so difficult to predict just because we don't know who the Republican candidate is going to be. But if we take a look at the general, it does look like the Democrat has an advantage for now. All right. You know, I gave that Minnesota special election to Republicans. I'm going to call this, I'm going to say this is slight Democrat. Again, a lot of these could change. At the moment, we're looking at 55-45. That's my prediction at the moment, a 4-seat pickup. A lot of these can change. I think the ones most likely to change would be Arizona, Wisconsin. So I could see certainly these two moving over, depending on who eventually winds up getting the nomination. So what was the best case scenario for Republicans? They might pick up Florida. Ohio, I'm going to leave. I don't know who is going to be running in Ohio yet. So toss up, I mean, Ohio or Nevada, either one of those could go over. But let's just say it's Ohio. So I think this is probably the best case Republican scenario. I don't see a supermajority. Personally, I would like to see it, but I'm not seeing how that would happen right now. Best case scenario for Democrats, I don't care what the shade of blue is at this point. I'll say West Virginia. I don't know about, well, okay, we'll say Indiana, but that's it. Missouri. Oh, okay, we'll move Montana over too. Best case scenario I see for Democrats is 51-49 Republican. I don't see too many ways that the Democrats would take the lead in the Senate. But I don't think the Republicans are going to have enough to get a supermajority. I just don't think there's a lot of enthusiasm on the Republican side right now. This is going to depend on who ends up getting the nominations and who ends up running. I think there's two sides to this. We have a lot of Republicans, particularly in the House, that aren't running for re-election. Now, you can look at that one of two ways. They could realize, well, their seat may flip, or they could also realize that they can't run as conservatives anymore. And so they realize they wouldn't win a general election, or at least they probably wouldn't get nominated. So you could look at that from the Republicans as a good sign that you can get better candidates in there. Because right now the Senate has done such a horrible job on the Republican side. I mean, on both sides, but particularly the Republicans have not been governing like a majority. It's going to depend if you get some fresh blood in some of these races, and if you can get good conservative candidates in some of these states like North Dakota, Arizona, Missouri. I think you could see something very close to a supermajority. I don't think it's actually going to happen. So let's move this back to where I had it. So I think this is the most likely scenario, 55-45, and it's kind of in the middle, right? I said it's 51 Republican on the lower end, 59 Republican on the higher end, and we're right in the middle here. So I have a feeling it's going to be pretty close to this, but again, so much can change between now and then. All right, that's my prediction for now. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I'm going to make another one of these soon regarding the House elections. I don't think I'm going to spend quite as much time per race because this is, man, we're almost at a half hour already. All right, thanks for watching, and let me know what you think. All right, bye.